Hello. I think we're on video 5. And again, this is an exercise in my transatlantic studies. These videos are to assist me in abbreviating thought, organizing thought, and within a short amount of time, deliver a concise and meaningful historical message. The purpose of this is for me to, 1, disseminate information with the use of technology. Number 2, organize better thought as to where I can write it better. If I think it better, I'll write it better. And also to help with my research and oration. Got a call coming in. Can't have a call. Okay. So, tonight, the United Nations definition of genocide is any of the following acts with the intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or a religious group. That is by way of killing its members, bodily or mental harm, inflicting conditions to bring destruction, preventing births, forcibly transferring children. Now, if that is the definition of genocide, and this is punishable within the United Nations, my question is, why has American historical activity been overlooked or condoned or accepted? If we go with number 1, killing its members, we have Mexicans with all of the Mexican lands, South American lands. Well, if we just talk about the United States, we'll talk about Mexico. All of the land from Idaho to the now Mexican border, from Texas, which was taken, they say annexed, but it's taken, to California. All of that was taken by way of war, which means you were killing people. And you were killing them over money. It was not that you were protecting sovereign land. You wanted to buy something, they didn't want to sell it, so you killed them until they sold it at the price you wanted it sold at, which technically is not selling. So we can go further. Native Americans obviously were killed. I think there's a lot of apologetic history as to where they say the diseases carried from the Europeans is what killed the native population, and to a degree that was true. But the intention of taking the land and utilizing bio war techniques was purposefully done. So it doesn't take away the focus of the Europeans, because that happened as well. I believe that's called the ecological circumstances that worked with their intention, not despite their intention, not independent of their intention. It worked with their intention. And then the black people have been killed regularly. Africans killed regularly. They would throw Africans overboard in shipping them from Africa, because they were so greedy in loading up the ships with people that sometimes they were too heavy, and to pick up speed in mid-travel, they would just tie chains to them and just throw something heavy off to the side, and they would slide off. If you have the opportunity to watch the movie Amistad, you'll see some examples of that if you need a visual. But that was a regular occurrence. I don't know. And you got to think, for 200 years, cargoes of slaves were carried from West Africa to the United States. How many bodies is that? All right. Bodily or mental harm. I'm just going to kind of stay on the black thing for a while. These people were brought here, and that's what they were, people. You know, people, you start saying Africans to get away from the fact that these were people. Their humanity was taken away. Humanity. Now, that's why I'm sticking with black people right now. Because no other group had to prove that they were a person. Slavery has happened all over the world. But chattel slavery in the United States was unique in the way that the enslaved lost their humanity. We actually had to prove in 1964 that we were people. Most people didn't have to do that. Inflicting conditions to bring destruction. All you have to do is look at the American laws that were passed from 1865 to today. I think I know it's been past 2010. There is still legislation where affirmative action is being outlawed. So you're going to tell me from 1776 to 1964 being a head start for European Americans. From 64 to, I think, the first cases to first Supreme Court cases, which I have in my outline, we can actually get into more. It wasn't 10 years before there were cases of reverse discrimination, which you cannot have discrimination without power. That's it. That's how you discriminate, by way of the power. Blacks don't have power, so we really cannot discriminate. That's why you say some people saying black people can't be racist. That's where it makes sense, because not liking somebody or liking your group more than another group is not necessarily where the crime is. The crime is being able to use that ideology to the demise of the group that you are not in favor of or you see as an opposition is the problem. But inflicting conditions to bring destruction. Man, you have how many? You have Black Wall Street, you have Rosewood, you have the not last summer, but the two previous summers where so many blacks were just being killed by police officers. You have the 1994 crime bill with the whole Clinton administration, the Reagan administration. The Reagan administration declared a war on the American people. I understand it started with Nixon, but Nixon did not begin moving funds to input military tactics and equipment in local law enforcement to be used against the American people. That was completely Reagan. Preventing births, eugenics. Notice there are no Planned Parenthoods in nice areas. Nowhere. Learn the history of Planned Parenthood, but that is eugenics. And forcibly transferring children. Check it out. Integration was not the best thing to happen to black folks. And to transfer these kids with no protection was horrible. Now we understand they did the same thing with Native Americans when they took their kids and took them away. We know throughout slavery, take their kids, took them away. The whole Emmett Till situation, somebody's child being picked up and taken away. All of these are specific accounts, and I understand we hitting our 10-minute period, and I'm gonna pull this together. We're gonna have to do a part 2. Native Americans, 1492, Holocaust, genocide. American slavery, 1619, Holocaust, still hasn't stopped. King Leopold II in the Congo, 1884 to 1885. Adolf Hitler's Holocaust, 1933 to 1945. That is the only Holocaust that you hear about that Europeans take issue with. That is not to be forgotten and is said to be a Holocaust when it was done to white people. You want to know why American slavery is not a Holocaust? Because it's still going on. So what we're going to look at further in the next video is why the United States has not been brought about on charges. Because, again, if the Black Holocaust is still going on, which we're going to cover in the next video, mass incarceration, why is this not being looked at just by the American people? We'll get to that.